All right, question of the morning with more than 50 responses. The losing continues for BYU. What will it take to get out of this funk? Well, at the lowest level, playing Baylor Tuesday night, they ought to win that game. If they play the way they did against Houston, I think they ought to win that game. But that's not really the point, PK. The funk includes also losing to the ranked teams. And, yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to get out of this funk. I mean, this may be how good they are. The test case here is getting bigger and bigger, and the results are the same. Maybe this is just who this group is, and what is it going to take? It's going to take an offseason and a new roster.
So you don't think having the ball with 11 seconds to go, down by a point against Arizona, means they cannot beat them? Or similar situations, a very close loss to UConn and very close loss to, obviously, Kansas, and they did lead by 9 late in the game. With,
I think the Kansas one is
opportunities at Texas Tech.
I think the Kansas one is more encouraging. You know, the Arizona game, they're going to play them again at Tucson. They had their chance at home. They missed it. No, I don't think they're going to do it when they go to Arizona. And a neutral tournament, maybe they get them again in the Big 12. You know, there's a chance. But on the whole, if they play 3 more games against ranked teams, do I think they're going to win them all? They maybe win one. I mean, at some point they should win one of these. But you get to the NCAA tournament when it really matters, and you have to play 2 or 3 of them in a row to get to a Final Four, which was the stated goal. No, I don't see that happening. Could they pick one off along the way? Yes, and they probably should. But I don't know that winning one of those gets them out of their funk. Maybe it does. Maybe it changes the mindset and they catch fire. We've seen teams catch fire in March before. It could happen. Do I think it will? Probably not. For most teams, it doesn't happen. But you're right. It does happen for teams sometimes.
As I look at this team, it has deficiencies. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick them to go to the Final Four. I'm not sure I ever picked them to go to the Final Four. I really didn't think about whether I picked them to go to the Final Four or not. So I can't say I did or I didn't. I wasn't really worried about that because when their season starts, we're eyeball deep in college football. Yeah. I'm not really thinking about it.
And there's so much that can happen. And tell me about your draw later on. And right.
But now is the time we are thinking about it because football is over. Sad to say.
It is.
Another sport has come and gone.
I know.
I'm sad about it.
Time is marching on.
Every time a season ends, I don't care what the season is, I have a little bit of sadness because we get so wrapped up in that particular season, whichever season it is, and then it's gone, and that season's never coming back, and now we got to wait, and then next summer comes, and we'll be fired up again, and that's the way it works, right? It's like a vacation. If you have a great vacation, you anticipate it, and then you enjoy it, and then when it's gone, it's sad, and then you set your sights on the next one, whenever that may be, if you're fortunate enough to be in that position. So now is the time where I am heavily, and we are heavily focused on basketball, and in this case, the Cougar basketball team, along with the Aggies. The Utes obviously are still rebuilding there. So as I look this, it doesn't look like it's a Final Four team, but what am I looking for in terms of points of interest? I don't think it's hopeless. I think that's the thing that I can say, but that's not a very powerful, encouraging statement by saying I don't think it's hopeless. So I'm not trying to kid anybody here acting like, oh yeah, I'm on this bandwagon. My gosh, they've had all these close losses. All they got to do is this or that, just tweak something here and there, and they're going to win these games. I can't say that. I'm going for like the minimum in terms of positivity is it's not hopeless, which is not a ringing endorsement.
I expect them to beat Baylor Tuesday, and I expect them to beat Colorado Saturday. But the big games at Arizona, and they've got Iowa State and Texas Tech at home. Do I think they're going to win in Arizona? I don't. Now, I know they went up to Gonzaga when Gonzaga was number one, and I didn't think they were going to win then either.
You don't need to worry about that. They beat Arizona last year. You don't have to go back years.
No, I know, but Arizona wasn't.
You would never pick
Arizona
Utah or the Cougars going into McHale.
No, they probably wouldn't.
Right.
You're right.
That doesn't change anything.
But Iowa State and Texas Tech, would I pick them to win both of those games at home right now? No, I wouldn't. Do I think they could pick off one of them? Yes, I do.
I could see them winning both. That's not that big of a deal.
That would I think it'd be a big enough deal to change mentality, and confidence
Sure.
is a powerful thing. So
I agree.
if you're going to
But
get
it's
on
not
a
a
roll
big a
in March,
deal where it's an outrageous accomplishment. Oh, man, I didn't see that coming. That's a shocker. I'm not going to go that far.
if they could pull that off, maybe that gives them some jet fuel in March. Because in each of these losses, you're right, you can woulda, coulda, shoulda. They're not getting beat by 40. And so you can woulda, coulda, shoulda these games because it did look good in Kansas with 9 minutes to go. It did. At Houston.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. You're right. Yes, Texas Tech. They've had chances. They've had opportunities. And you can woulda, coulda, shoulda hit it. But at this point, also when I'm 5 games deep, and I got to admit, I discount Connecticut, which could be the most encouraging of them all because they weren't at home, and Connecticut looks like they're very good, but it was just so long ago. Teams changed from mid-November when they played that game. So I got to say this is weighted towards the 4 conference games that I've watched them lose. And
that's selective. We do whatever you want on that. That's your call. They played them tough. I really don't think BYU's changed. Maybe Connecticut. I did watch the Connecticut St. John's game the other night, Friday, I think it was. The situation with BYU is when I saw them play in person in Vegas in Villanova, against Villanova, and they won that game. The thing that was glaring to me, absolutely 100% glaring, sitting under the basket, was they're going to have trouble rebounding. And I asked Kevin Young about that. And then they had a home game a week later. And I went to that game. I asked him again. It was glaring to me from literally game 1 that they were going to have some holes on the rebounding, particularly with the offensive rebounding. They have to send – DeBonsa has to be there. Mm-hmm. There's no question. And I would strongly say Davis and Saunders have to be there. Wright is probably only going to get a long rebound. He's playing outside, obviously, and he's short. So I'm not expecting him. But those other guys are going to have to do it because they don't have enough muscle. They don't have enough guys that want to do the dirty work. DeBonsa and Saunders aren't going to get to the NBA by doing the dirty work. I mean, DeBonsa is a sure thing to be in the NBA. Saunders has a very, very good chance, but it's going to be his other assets and skills. But this team at this time needs those guys to rush to the defensive glass, no matter where they are on the court. That's just going to have happen for them, or they're going to continue to get beat. I noticed it and asked Kevin Young the very first game. The things that plagued them then are still plaguing them now. They have no post players with any offensive proficiency whatsoever. Zero. They don't got anything. A putback and a dunk. That's it. You got to put the ball on the floor, do any kind of post move. It's simply not there. And so that's always going to be a problem. But they can't pick up anybody else on the waiver wire. They already got one dude, and it's too late now. If they did that, it would just be shocking. So that's what you're going to have to do. These guys, all those assistant coaches and everything that they got, they're going to have to figure out ways. The good thing is they're not getting smoked. I mean, you can argue, and it is. It's what, we said this a million times over. It's what losers do. They figure out, well, if we could have done this, or maybe you just go the easy way and blame the referee, or this or that. And that's true. They're going to have to shoot a high percentage from the free throw line every single game and limit offensive rebounds. And I know they had a few on their own, but the problem is I think they actually might even out-rebounded those guys.
On the offensive boards. Yeah, BYU had 14 and Houston had 13. The problem was the 5 or 6 offensive rebounds Houston got in the last 5 minutes when they absolutely had to have them. They got them. They got them.
BYU's guys, when they get the offensive rebound, so what? Because if it's their big guys, what are they going to do with it? They can't do anything. They don't have the skill sets that allow them to do something with it. So what they need to do is tell us, if you should be fortunate enough to get an offensive rebound, look to go back outside and set it up again. Yeah. Because they apparently don't have the skill to be able to score. So you got the offensive rebound. Don't we look to think, oh, put it back. You're right there. And Houston's guys, they can do that, obviously. So it's not like go back to the drawing board and start from scratch, but they got to continue to refine this. And right now that I'm eyeball deep in their team and their season, doesn't look like a Final Four team whatsoever. But don't worry about that. That's they still have a month to go in the regular season. I think they're like 2 days shy of 1 month before the regular season ends. And then you got the conference tournament. Mm-hmm. So we're still 7 weeks away from the NCAA tournament. So put that aside and just figure out ways to get better and clean up what you need to clean up and show that intensity, right? We all are happy with the level of play. They weren't smoked. They stood in the game against a top-ranked team, a team that was in the finals last year and all that stuff. 2 draft picks, they're going to go this year for sure. And you went toe-to-toe. Okay, see if you can just do a little bit more. And if you can, you got a shot. If you can, then you don't.
Tons of fans weighing on this. What will it take? Clinton is right there with the point you just made. Rebounds, interior people who can make a layup. How about some free throws? So there it is. Brady, we lost to Arizona, Kansas, Houston, Oklahoma State. The first 3 teams might get to a Final Four. It's not like we lose to bad teams other than Oklahoma State. Anything could happen in March. Brady's holding out hope.
Well, I don't know if anything can happen, but things can happen. And I wouldn't classify Oklahoma State as a bad team. I think that's not true. They're okay. It was a quad 1 loss, so however they figure that stuff out, they're okay in that situation. But yeah, they do have to do some things, and it's clear, it's obvious. You don't have to be a big basketball mind to do it. And I like Kevin Young, man. I think he can figure it out. I believe in his ability. He's a new coach too, in terms of things that are happening right now are a lot of things that he's going through and figuring out stuff and figuring out the league, because this is only his 2nd year in the league. Kelvin Sampson is his 90th year coaching college ball, it seems. So, maybe there's a little bit of a disadvantage there, but it's not anything that Kevin Young himself can't overcome, because I believe he can. And I like he showed a little PO'd attitude in the media the other day. Free throws, can you do? Nope. He was about to pass out. He showed a little bit of attitude, and then he backed off of that and basically apologized without saying I'm sorry, and then offered a deeper explanation of why he took Devonsa out. He's trying to get Devonsa a blow, but my gosh, if he tries to get him a blow and piggyback it off a timeout, okay, and then it ends up, wow, I got to get him right back in. I mean, he's sort of, the proverbial rock in a hard place there. You want to get him an opportunity to get off his feet for a minute or two, but then you got to get him right back in. You can't. And they do all that stuff with the sports science to know when guys are tired and yada, yada. And so I trust them on that. It's just a situation that they have. They just, against these great teams, they just have to minimize mistakes. And they did pretty well on the turnovers too, as far as that goes. Much better than in what it was, and that which was an abomination in the first part of the game against Oklahoma State. It was atrocious, the soft, easy turnovers. Well, they clean that up. It's like, you got this big wall there, the Hoover Dam in the old Chevy Chase movies, and you plug up one and then something else leaks. And then, next thing you know, you got a flood. They got to figure out a way to plug up all these leaks on this team. And will they be able to do it? I think they won't go winless against these ranked teams. That would be bad, obviously, if they went winless against every ranked team. I think they can. You just mentioned the 2.
Yep.
In a sense, they've got to get those 2, man. They really have to get those 2 at home. That's big. Those will be considered big games, and maybe they can pick off someone else along the way, whether it be during the regular season or conference tournament, because they need to generate some positive momentum against the best.
8 games left in the regular season, 3 of them against ranked opponents. We will see what the Cougars do Tuesday night at Baylor. I would expect the losing streak ends there, and they get the win. When we come back, the Super Bowl. What was good about the big game, the last game for another 200 days? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.